Good morning. I wanted to show you how you're actually going to make a self-portrait. So if you choose the self-portrait option, this is a very quick video just to ease your mind of, I can draw, how am I actually going to do that, but I really want to do a self-portrait. So I just want to tell you the steps so that you can start thinking of maybe doing it or not doing it. So I have my chipboard, and your first step says to do your background. So what you would do is you would start putting whatever you want to do your texture with it. You can use tissue paper, you can use whatever, but the point is you do whatever you want on it, okay? And then you go ahead and paint the whole thing with different colors, different things that you want. Now it says middle layer, so if you wanted to stick words or stick whatever on here, you would do that now. So then let's pretend that's all done. I want to talk to you about the hard part. How do you get a person in there, or how do you get a portrait in there? So here's what I wanted to show you. This is the transfer technique that we're going to use. After you have everything you want where you want it, after you have your painted layer, after you have your second layer of coolness, I guess, you're going to take a printed picture of yourself. Now, this is the one, this picture is like this one, where you would use a lot of your body kind of pose. So like if you're playing football, catching a football, and you have a great picture your parents took of you, or you're dancing, or you're cheering, or you're playing an instrument and you really want that to be your picture, then that's what you would do. What we're going to do is we're going to scribble, just pencil all across the back, just like crazy. Just scribble pencil all across the back, a nice thick little layer. And then we're going to put it right on top of our image, and we're just going to trace it. You're going to trace your main outline. You're going to trace the parts that you want to be accented. The parts that you don't, those stay simple. The arm to me is really important, so I traced it just because that has to do with the wheel. I'm going to add this part, which is actually on the wheel. This is not me. This is just a picture I took off the internet because I didn't have one. But, the body part here is important because it separates this arm from that arm, and my face. The silhouette of my face is going to be important, and then the silhouette of my body. So I went ahead and traced that, and as you can see, I'm going to lift this up so it's a little closer. You actually get, I hope you can see it okay in the video, but you get a little image of what you need. Now you can paint and do all kinds of stuff on here, but it's really easy to get the body pose that you want. I didn't add facial features because that example didn't, but you can if you want to. So that's one. Now here's the other one. And here you want a lot more detail because you're doing a portrait. Now, this photograph, I just took it off the internet as well because I didn't have time to look for anything else. This is the one on our website. But this is not a very good pose because I'm looking just straight at the camera. You want pictures that have your hands in it, that you're wearing a hat, that you're turning to the side, that you're looking up at a camera. Just something really interesting and not a boring, like mug shot kind of pose. You want a better pose. Your head slightly up or whatever. But this is the one, the inspiration that I'm going to take for this if you wanted something a lot more detailed like this. So here's the basics. You would cover the back in a bunch of graphite like before. This would be on your board, but I did it on white paper just so that you can see on the actual video. But you're going to do it on your actual board after you painted your background, after you added your texture, after. So you go ahead and get a picture of yourself, hopefully a much more interesting picture than I did. And then you go ahead and trace it like we did. Now that's the basic outline of what I look like that's going to help me paint. But that's not going to be good enough for this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for shadows and highlights. So right here, I see this little highlight, so I'm going to add it. Shadow right here. Right here, I see a bright highlight on my cheek, so I'm going to trace it. This is called face mapping. Here, I see a bigger shadow, so I'm going to trace that shape right there. Here, I'm going to trace a little bit for those shadows of my eyes. Here, I'm going to give myself this little shadow on my chin. Underneath my neck, I'm going to have this big shadow here. Here's a shadow for my collarbone, and here's a nice highlight. And I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to throw away because I need it later for painting. And here's a pretty big highlight, for my forehead. Here's a highlight for my nose. Sorry, it shouldn't be crooked. It should be more straight. And here's a little shadow. Now, for my personal preference, I'm going to put a little X on the medium tones so that I know that those are darker. And the ones that are not so dark won't have anything in them. And I'm just going to stop there so that we can go with the video. So now I have this. that has actual little sections on it. So that when I start painting and adding crazy detail, then I can have all these that tell me where to go. All this will disappear with my painting, but it gives me an idea of what I need. So that's how you would get yourself on these little projects. So let me zoom it in so that looks a little bit better. Yes. So now you can see how I have these little sections that are going to help me place and paint my shadows and give me really the shape of my face and the depth that I need. So that's how we're going to transfer them. I just wanted to show you that. All the rest of the choices that you have, we can easily do those in the next video. But right now, before you do your brainstorming, I wanted to show you how easy it is to get these images in case you wanted this, but you were scared that you couldn't draw. These right here, obviously the other choices are going to be a lot easier to do because you don't need to draw. So best of luck.